Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thrive Haryana 2020 Tech Startups Ecosystem Meet. It's time for our panel discussion on critical times and innovations, opportunities for startups. I would like to welcome our moderator for the session, Mr. Puneet Mudgil, founder and chief research officer, Octane Research. Welcome, sir. And now
Yes,
to introduce our panelists, we have with us Mr. Dilnawaz Khan, founder, Code Science
everyone.
Labs and PowerTech. Mr. Kishwa, Global CEO, Commonwealth YouTube Hub, Malaysia. Mr. CM Patil, CEO, Deshpande Startups. And Mr. Yogesh Khakre, Company Secretary, Bhopal Smart City Development Corporation Limited, BNES Incubator. I would request all the delegates to keep posting their questions in the chat box, and the panel will address a selected few at the end of the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Aparna. Good afternoon to all my friends who are dialing in for this Thrive 2020, our second year in running. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you. And many of you are dialing in from outside of India. So, depending on the time zone you are in, please accept my wishes for the day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And if you're watching this recorded little later, the conversation will not end today at the next 40 minutes. The conversation will continue. So I would recommend that you can keep in touch with any of us, including I or my four co-panelists, if you have any questions which we may have missed or not done justice to in our deliberation for next 40 minutes. So with that, let me set some ground rules before I invite all of my four co-panelists to spend some time introducing themselves. We'll be closing. Number one, we'll be closing on time. So 1:10 will definitely close the session, whatever it comes. That's my role as a moderator. Second is that you don't have to wait till the end of the session to ask your questions. So please start queuing up your questions as soon as you're live, and you can post your questions on any of the platforms. We are live, I'm told, in addition to the Thrive platform, on 6 or 7 social media platforms, including LinkedIn. So please feel free to ask your questions to the moderator, Aparna, and she'll be happy to take your questions and put it in the platform that we are all going live from. So I would request you to start queuing up your questions as we speak, and don't wait for the end of the session. With that, let me set the context on the themes we are taking on this interaction with my fellow co-panelists. We will be discussing how the new opportunities are emerging. The title of the session is called Critical Times and Innovations Opportunity for Startups. So we believe COVID has thrown an interesting challenge in front of us. Many of the current setup processes, setup orders will go through a disruption. And nobody can argue that perhaps this has been the biggest disruption in our predictable lives for last so many years, perhaps once in a century kind of a disruption. And each disruption creates newer opportunities and challenges. So our session today will deliberate on opportunities and challenges it throws up for current startups. I'm told that many of you are currently entrepreneurs who have already gone through early stage or still in the early stage of your entrepreneurship. I'm told that there are viewers who are currently thinking about starting something of your own. Perhaps you're a student entrepreneur, or you are a employee with few years of experience and you want to go through your own journey of entrepreneurship. And I'm also told that we have stakeholders from the India startup ecosystem who are also joining us today. So we'll try to cater to questions for all three of you. Folks who are already in the startup mode, how things have changed for them, be it the ideation, be it the execution of the idea, be it the funding, finances, be it the HR, be it the infrastructure. We'll explore a lot of those areas, and I'm so grateful that I have a very, very expert panel with me. In no particular order, but alphabetical, I'm going to introduce them to you and post a quick introduction where I'll introduce them briefly, and then I'll ask my first question, which is for them to share their opening remarks. But before I do so, let me introduce the lineup of our expert panelist speakers today. We'll start with the alphabetical order. First speaker for my fellow speaker is Mr. C.M. Patil. And he, till today, is the CEO for a beautiful organization called Deshpande Startups from Hubli, Karnataka, in northern Karnataka. And it's a fabulous story that I would not like to steal any thunder from CM Patil's own remarks. So I'll hold that for later. Mr. Patil has a rich background of being an entrepreneur himself. He's worked for many companies. He's been a startup entrepreneur many times over with successful exits. As you all know, for an entrepreneur, one of the biggest milestones is that when he brings an idea to market. And then the second biggest joy is when he finds an exit for the shareholders, including himself or herself. So we'll hear his story and his opening remarks. But before I do that, let me invite now Dilnawaz Khan. He's the co-founder and CEO for Co-Design Labs and the CEO for PowerDeck. In his passion for helping startups, given his experience in this domain, he's created two beautiful new ventures. And I'll invite a little later Dilnawaz to share his own experience in those own words. And then after this, we have an international speaker giving us the global edge for our panel called Kishwa Ambigapati. Kishwa still has not dialed in, but perhaps he'll be joining us in a few minutes from now. And Kishwa is the global CEO for Commonwealth Youth Hub. It's an incubator, accelerator agency which is encouraging startup amongst the community of Commonwealth. As you may know, Commonwealth, I believe, is a community of more than 70 plus nations across the globe. So he has a very different perspective how startups are happening differently in different parts of the world. And post-COVID, how has this changed? So when Kishwa joins us, he'll be contributing that perspective. Kishwa does have some India experience, but we'll be relying more on his global outlook, how he sees that globally panning out. Last but not the least, we have a very interesting fellow speaker panelist. His name is Yogesh Thakre. Yogesh ji, welcome on board. Yogesh has a very interesting background. He is a company secretary by professional qualification. He also happens to be a company secretary for Bhopal Smart City. And when I said he happens to be, I was not calling it very lightly, but given his other background of being an entrepreneur himself. So he's one of those rare breed of company secretaries who's gone beyond the calling of being a company secretary. And he's also has been an entrepreneur himself. And now he's taken on the mandate of helping other entrepreneurs as part of his role at Bhopal Smart City. So in addition to being a company secretary at Bhopal Smart City, given his background of being an entrepreneur, he also helps startups and entrepreneurs as part of his formal job definition and also outside of it. So if you look at all five of us combined together, and I'm not counting the various members of the IMI ecosystem, perhaps it may not be unfair to say we have a combined experience of some 500 plus startups on the panel here in any form or fashion. Be it mentoring, be it funding, be it incubating, be it discussing. So live interaction with X number of startups. So it's my privilege, professional privilege to get this session started. I only have two requests, one for my fellow panelists and one for my audience members. Fellow panelists, when I'm asking them a question, I'll request them to start their answer with a short sentence and then explain the background of why they feel so. And similarly, from the audience perspective, if you are coming live with us, I'm not sure if you have the capability of going on video question with us, but irrespective, if you can start your chat with first a quick question, and then we'll deliberate into the background of that question, that'll be mightily useful. So keep your answers short and keep your questions also as short as possible. Now, the first thing we'll do, first round is a quick round of introductions. So I'll now request Mr. CM Patil to take a couple of minutes and explain to us his own journey. And then from there, we'll go to Dilnawaz, from Dilnawaz to Kishwa, and then Yogesh to round up our first session of questions. So tell us a little bit more about Mr. Patil, about your journey.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Puneet. And I also thank all the organizers for having me on the panel. And my best wishes to all the audience in the forum. Just to get my background, as Puneet rightly mentioned, I'm an entrepreneur, having come from a small town, a place called Raichur, I became an accidental entrepreneur, to be very honest with all of you. The joy of being entrepreneurs is what I love spreading out to people, because entrepreneurship is not about making money or driving companies. I feel it's all about the way of life. And when I got the taste of this, I was always excited to see how I can share my experience of being an accidental entrepreneur, the joy of this particular journey with all the fellow participants over here. So, long story short, I've done three companies, taken two exits, one I'm still part of it. And 5 years ago, I decided to see how I can contribute more to the non-metro cities of the country, and joined Deshpande Foundation. With that, Deshpande Startups. We are a non-academic TBI, Technology Business Incubator, recognized by Government of India, and started entrepreneurs in the ecosystem, and we have grown from that to more than 250 plus entrepreneurs today. It's one of the vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem one would see. I would urge all the participants to Google about Deshpande Startups. They'll get a lot more about it. And for me, why I took that journey was India is a country of 1.3 billion population, and if you look at the metro city population, entire country has about close to 20 million or so. But whereas more than 1.1 billion population still lives outside metro, and I don't say that a village or anything outside be Bharat ecosystem, but the new norm or new term be used by every week. So here, I believe the country, I believe each one of us to think about that. And for me, there are three kind of people. One is one who sees a problem and not worried about anything. The second category is the one who sees the problem and expects somebody else to solve. And the third category of people are one who sees it as an opportunity. And for me, that is an entrepreneurial category. And the last 5 years, I had a privilege working with this ecosystem to breed more and more entrepreneurs, and love being part of this ecosystem here. That's a bit about my background. And in this connected world, we all know each other. Everybody can Google with one person. So I would stop it there and then pass it back to Puneet. Thank you, Puneet, for having me again here.
Thank you, Mr. Patil. Thank you for your time, for being here. Let me invite now Dilnawaz for his opening comments, please.
So yeah, good morning everyone, and thanks Puneet and thanks IMF for inviting me. The area of expertise I have is making pitch decks. So here's my elevator pitch. So one thing you should remember about me is I am the pitch wala or the pitch guy for all of you. That is, if you just want to remember one thing about me, that is who I am. My full-time work is I help startups in creating pitch decks and help them with fundraising process. That's what I do. It's been 12 years into the ecosystem, built two companies, running two of them right now. Have worked with Startup OSA, CIA, United Ventures, diverse experience around technology, startups, and incubation space. And parallelly, love podcasting, love building my YouTube channel, giving back via that, and host a weekly show called AMAVDNK on Saturday. So yeah, so one thing you should remember is I'm the pitch guy for all of you. That is it. And rest, like CM said, right? Everything is just a Google away or a LinkedIn away rather. So yeah, just Google it and you will get more information. So yeah, that's my elevator pitch. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dilnawaz. Now let me invite Keshwa to share his opening remarks and a bit about himself, his journey. Keshwa, we may have to unmute you. So yeah.
Right. Okay. Hi. Good
We
morning.
can hear you now.
Good afternoon from here in Malaysia. I think it's a great privilege to be sharing the screen with so many people from different various backgrounds. I come from the Commonwealth Youth Innovation Hub. We look at innovation across the different areas through young people in the 54 member states which we represent. We look at ideas, we look at translating ideas, especially from young people, into businesses, creating more of social enterprises across the Commonwealth. And if you look at the demographic of the Commonwealth, you would realize that a lot of this country is coming from Africa, Caribbean region, or some in the Pacific are, of course, left behind without the tech enabler. And this is where we help to bridge big companies, also government in terms of designing policy to help startups to better thrive in this ecosystem. We have worked very closely with India over the past year or two, specifically to see how the ecosystem can also be better enhanced, but also how India can also set benchmarks or set standards for other enterprises or other startups across the Commonwealth and beyond that. So thank you very much for having me today, and I'm looking forward to this engaging session. Thank you.
Thank you, Kishwa. And now let me invite Yogesh Kakre from Bhopal Smart City to share his opening remarks and a bit about his own journey.
Rather introducing myself, I would like to introduce the ecosystem what we have built up in Madhya Pradesh and Bhopal. So, as Punita said, as a professional, I am a company secretary, and then started my entrepreneurship journey in 2012-13, and then I got onboarded in Bhopal Smart City. So, in tier two cities like Bhopal, there's not many industrial infrastructure is there. The ecosystem is missing. Where do the students go for job, or where they can go for starting their own venture? It was still a question in 2017-18. So we started on 8th of May 2018 under Bhopal Smart City Mission to promote entrepreneurial spirit amongst the youth, which will lead to the economical and social development of Madhya Pradesh. So we are the first incubation center in Central India by any smart city across nation. We identified the problem statement that there is a startup policy in Madhya Pradesh in 2016, but no such support system was developed to get the benefit of the policy. So the idea behind is to create an ecosystem where startups can innovate, create and succeed with the technological assistance and guidance from the industry experts, mentors, and academicians. So in these 2 years, we have incubated around 62 incubates out of 5,000 plus applications, which further created 700 plus jobs, and many of them are first generation entrepreneurs. So my role is to validate and the idea and connect them to the government buyer. So my role is to make a marriage of the startups as well as the industry experts, because industries are having the bandwidth to bid for government tenders, but startups as a very early stage, they are not having that net worth or experience to bid for the government tenders. So my role is to marry the industries and startups so that they will collaboratively bid for the government tenders, because government is the biggest client nowadays. So this is my role. This is my brief. Yes, incubation.
Thank you, Yogesh, and we're looking forward to your ideas and contribution. Now, let me get the stage running, because or the common shared screen running a little bit faster. We've heard about Corona being a short-term disruption. Somebody saying it's going to be a long-term effect. Now, entrepreneurs work on opportunities which are in front of them, short-term, mid-term, long-term. Given that the situation is different now, how would you respond to the question of, I have an idea, I want to execute, or if you already have an idea, I'm executing? Does that change given Corona and Corona's impact, the ideation process or execution process? And if you can answer the question from both perspectives, one, if you're already seeing a startup with young people putting some energy behind that startup, already in progress, early stages yet, not angel round, maybe angel plus, not Series A. Or if you have a young student or young professional willing to take the risk, leave the job after their MBA, start up into a new idea. How has the world changed if you are in that startup mode? Now let me start with CM Patil to share his perspective on ideation. Has it changed? Execution? Are there newer elements?
So Puneet, a very good question in first place. I think for me, it has opened up a lot more opportunities, and I see, as I said, entrepreneurship journey is all about traveling the unknown path, and this has got nothing to do with it. So with Corona, without Corona, I don't think there are any issues there. But obviously, the digital push has grown 10x, I would say. Because if I can't access to be as a mentor, now I can talk to him right away. I can't talk to the investor, I can talk to them right away. If I have got a meet in my business, I'm pretty sure entire my doors are open for that. So I see these are the best time for entrepreneurs. That's my perspective. Always testing times give us a extremely hard push, and this is one of those times. So it's a encouraging time in my opinion for entrepreneurship in the country, and that to the right moment.
So thank you, Mr. Patil. You talked about digital outreach and access, and it gets you a different level of coverage.
Yes.
Kishwa, would you agree with that, or would you like to add to that? Ideas don't change much post-Corona, but execution, are you seeing something different now?
We're seeing a whole new paradigm shift in terms of mindset. because big companies especially, have no choice but to digitalize their solutions or operations. And this then creates a new opportunity for startups, especially because startups have been created as one, not only as a tech enabler, but also to solve problems, to become solutions, digital solutions. So things like cross-collaborating technology, Zoom for this, Zoom, WebEx, and whatnot, are all new tech enablers which are helping things to move faster. And I think this is where budding startups, but also people who have an idea or a solution, rather, is the best time to be in, because everyone is looking at you. They want you as a solution. They want an existing solution in the market. Some of these big businesses, big corporates don't even know what they're looking for, because these are all tech jargons. So it is somehow or other, this whole pandemic has just been a catalyst to a sort to the startup world. And you look things like Netflix, Amazon. You look at the viewer ratings have increased. Uber Foods. At the same point of time last year, in Malaysia, for instance, we're talking about banning Uber or Grab because it's challenging conventional economies. But today, if we never had this access, then we would be in a very terrible situation. Same thing goes with digital economy and whatnot. So I think this is the best time to be in. It also pushes a level. It's a level playing field. So anyone from any age, as long as you have an idea, you have the passion, I think this is the best time to be out there and seize the bull by its horns. Thank you.
Thank you, Kishwa. So while CM Patil talked about digital and access to people, you can actually go and reach out to many people. Kishwa talked about digitalization of industries and how that's going through a massive change. Now, let me invite Dilnawaz for his perspective on how storytelling or GTM, has that changed, or are we still holding on to the basics are still there in terms of how do you do ideation and execution of those ideas in storytelling or go to market? So Dilnawaz, do you have any perspective on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll quickly add, I'll quickly add one thing on what these two gentlemen said before me. I think I heard in one of the panels rather that I think the best thing this pandemic did is put a full stop and reset the entire clock for everybody. I think that's the best thing this pandemic was able to do. And of course, I'm saying this with all the privilege we hold of having a high-speed internet and coming on the WebEx and speaking about all these things, right? So I'm with all the I'm being humble enough to say that we have all privilege to kind of not worry about the food, water, and the basic security, right? So I think I'll give you two quick examples. One thing, let me first give you the outside perspective, right? So I sit on advisory boards of a lot of academic institutions and also work with a lot of early stage entrepreneurs who work with incubators and accelerator programs. I think one advice I've been giving to all of them, which I have applied personally, and I'll speak about that a bit in second bit that I talk about, is that because of the downtime and everybody has so much time on hand because you're in lockdown at home, how much can you binge watch, right? So you have enough time on the hand. This is the best time to sit and research and figure out and go and talk to people and take feedback on the idea, even if you're a very early stage entrepreneur, right? So a lot of students, kids, very early stage guys, aspiring entrepreneurs in their early 20s, right? When they think of building a startup, the most time they need to spend is on research and validation. And because everybody, including their target audience, potential investors, stakeholders, everybody has so much of time on the hand, it's great time to sit, go out there and start getting feedback from people. So I think one good thing that happened was this. Of course, sales was not happening for early stage companies because everybody was trying to preserve cash. So coming onto the point from the GTM point of view, the sales was not happening, but for an early stage entrepreneur, he had nothing to lose. So it was a great time to go to market and validate his idea and figure out whether it will work or not. Second, from the personal point of view, as I said, I have started a YouTube channel. So my first show went on live in July of 2020, and I've been thinking and contemplating on doing it from ages, right? And because of the travel, because of I do 3 talks a week and 2 workshops a week. So I'm talking almost like every day. And in the routine life, we were traveling, going to office, and then doing talks. Half the time was just in traveling, right? So we are now sitting in our own little boxes. This gave me time to start my own thing. So I think one thing for existing entrepreneurs was that because we had so much time on our hand, it was a super productive time, and you as an entrepreneur can also experiment and start things which you were always contemplating on. And the same principle which I spoke about in the first part applies to you as well, that now you can go out, test, validate even for yourself, and then start building things on top of it. So yeah, it's a fantastic time. Anybody who lost this time basically lost an opportunity of a lifetime, I would say that.
Thank you, Dilnawaz. In fact, personally, also, I've started my fourth venture. My third one got acquired in 2017, April. And I served on the board of the larger company till last year, 2019. I took a sabbatical. And this Corona actually woke me up saying, what are you doing? There's so much of an opportunity around you. So 5th August
Right.
is when I started my next two ideas, two new journeys. I want to bring in Yogesh Khakre for two perspectives. One is if you would like to add to what's being said, because I think three speakers have covered a lot of ground on how idea and execution have remained the same or have changed. I would like to invite your perspective from other two perspectives, which is one, how has funding and finance situation changed post-corona? Because we're definitely seeing the deals drying out. We're definitely seeing a place which is a tough environment for young companies to raise next round. But on the other side, you may say that the burn rates have also come down. So how do you see this, given your role working with 50 plus startups, creating 600 plus jobs? How do you see this, from both finance funding perspective and also being a physical incubator, a place where you've incubated companies? How are you seeing infra HR hiring plus the finance funding change in your perspective? Of course, you can also refer to the ideation and execution if that's changing post-corona. Yogesh, you may have to unmute yourself, please.
I would like to add to what CM and Dilnawaz has said, and definitely Keshav said. So my answer is survival of the quickest. The quicker you are responding to the situation, you will stay long in the game. So this is what I want to add, because people have reacted to the situation, and the startups who have responded to the situation, seeking opportunity in adversity, they have like longer game to play. Because I just want to quote an example of one of my startup, Cameo, who is into merchandising. Like he's making T-shirts for the colleges and other stuffs for the colleges and schools. So in the time of this COVID happened, every like cities are locked in lockdown, and nobody is allowed to move from one place to another, and we are using single-use mask. So single-use mask was like last longer to 5 to 6 hours, but people were carrying it to throughout the day, and they have to throw it away and then use the next mask in the next day. So it's like a costlier affair if you are using a mask every day, single-use mask every day. So I suggested him to tweak his model and said, here, this is the right time to come up with a reusable mask of cotton, of good quality cotton, 3-layer cotton, and he produced that. And we have allowed him by giving a pass to roam around the city, because in that situation only 2 shops were open. One was milk parlor, and second was the medicine shops. So during 15 days of the first lockdown, his product was placed in all the shoppies of milk parlor and medicine. So everyone was aware of the Cameo brand. So everyone is asking, do you have that Cameo mask? Do you have that Cameo mask? Because it is reusable. You can wash and you reuse again. So he seek the opportunity in adversity. And I have given him target of reaching 1 crore in 90 days. So till now, he achieved 70 lakhs of turnover by selling only masks, which the last year's turnover is 2 lakhs by selling all the merchandise. And this year he got the turnover of 70 lakhs only selling 50 rupees mask, 30 rupees mark. So how he plays himself in this adversity is because he is quicker to respond to the situation. And
that's great. So what about the other part, funding and recruiting HR?
So funding, like cash is always a king. Cash is always the best friend of you. So you have to reset your goals, divide your goals into short term, like 3 months, mid term, 6 months, and long term, 12 months. This is my new definition. So as I said, I have given him a target of achieving 1 crore in 90 days. So if you have target to catch moon, but if you fall down, then again you fall into stars. So he has fallen into stars by achieving 70 lakhs, which is also over and above his last year's turnover. So cash, like 2 types of funds are available. I always used to say, customers fund and investors fund. So if you are able to if you are able to raise customers fund by providing the quality of service and product, then there is no need of waiting for the investors fund. Investor will definitely come to your product. They will definitely find you out wherever you are staying in Bhopal or any tier 3 cities. But you have to provide a quality of service, quality of product, because that is the solution you have to provide. Second, you have to restructure your costing. You have to like kharche pe control karna. This is the time where we all know how to reduce our costs. As saving a single penny is like earning a single penny. So you have to think on cost perspective, cost cutting, fixed cost, because if you are having a large HR base, as I said, so there are many ghost employees in your company. So with the help of technology, you can identify the productivity and efficiency of the employee, and you can cut down that cost by giving them work from home or giving them shorter span of time, because they are ghost employees. So
Great.
most of the industrialists, they are having this kind of problem, but they never realized. But during pandemic, they realized that there are 60% of ghost employees in their company, and only 30 to 40% are employees are burdened with the double work, because they have to carry those ghost employees work also. So acceptance of situation in need of transformation, because if you are getting investment from angel investors and which is stopped because of this pandemic, so the majority of the funds provided by the government have been like doubled or tripled in this situation. Like BIRAC and Agni, they are giving lot many grants for new innovation to support this startup ecosystem during this pandemic, because they are very disruptive. They are providing very disruptive solutions. I want to quote an example. One of my startup is in home automation services. They are into integrating all the lights and fans of electric equipments of your household. During this pandemic, what he created, the need of the hour was to hand sanitization. So he has created touchless hand sanitization machine. With the help of sensor, you can put down your hand, which will automatically get your temperature also. So a single machine costing 5 to 8,000 will dispense your dispense the sanitizer as well as take your temperature. So you have reduced that one person who is standing on your door and taking the temperature and giving you sanitizer. So this kind of pivoting is model. The need
Great.
of the
Yeah, so Yogesh, I think you've given us three key things. One, of course, is that how fast are you responding to the situation, agility of your business. Improve that if you're already a startup, or if you're not if you're thinking of becoming one, then agility has to be an integral part. You talked about customer funding as a source of financing. I could not agree more as somebody who's bootstrapped companies. And third, you mentioned, which is that finance is now available to you at a cheaper cost. Yes, you may not get venture funding so easily, but if you have to raise commercial loans, those are available, and government also has newer schemes to give you more benefit. If you're already a startup, which is burning some money and looking for some additional headroom to grow. Now, there's a question which I want to bring into the to the panel. The question is, as this is the audience question, as we have seen, digital online education has boomed, and many of startups have pivoted in this angle. How can this be capitalized? Won't the things go back to normal? How can startups build a sustainable model? And the question really is, yes, we are seeing something that has happened in education, for example, but how do we build something which is more sustainable and not just a quick fix? For example, the masks, the dispensers, these were a great response, but is there an opportunity in this disruption to build something which is more long-term and sustainable? Let me invite first CM Patil, and then perhaps I'll go to Dilnawaz, and I'll close on this with comments from Kishwa. We have about 6 minutes, so let's keep it short, 1 minute each. Let's have a quick response on that one. Short-term opportunity versus sustainable model which you can capitalize. Mr. Patil, with you.
Yeah, this is aptly because most of them are feeling that people do carry away with the saboteurs, and in business is very, very important because your early customers may not be your long-term customers as well. So it's very important for us to understand how do we look at it. What I see this pandemic has opened up is, yes, it has opened up for a wide new of opportunities, but it has also enlightened us that some of these things we never dare to try it out. I think the new normal is going to be the combination of this pandemic period and the post part of it. It is not going to be altogether a new one. So one has to be wise enough to see that how am I going to use the thing which is rightly kept on my plate and how do I build further on this? So yes, masks and all were response, as you rightly mentioned, but now there is an equal opportunity for us to see how can we thrive a little bigger part of it. So
So don't get swayed by short-term opportunity. You still have to think mid to long term.
exactly. So, but the only thing is just ensure that this opened up one more window for you. Capitalize on this and build around it.
Okay,
In
great.
entrepreneur's journey, there is nothing called stagnant. It's only comma. There is nothing called full stop. So use this as a comma and then move on.
Great. Now let me invite Dilnawaz for his perspective on this.
So when I started building this company, Codesign Labs and PowerDeck, we were always a remote company from past 4 years. I've got guys in Bangalore, Chennai, Pune, multiple other places, and also from tier three towns. Bigger problem was at the client end. They wanted to meet. We literally doubled our business in the pandemic because clients also realized you can't meet people and they were forced upon it. The point I'm trying to make here is digitization is not going anywhere. And I was just writing an article for somebody and I was writing that eventually every company, right, will either be a fintech company, will be a content company or an education company, or will have some sort of a niche opportunity. So I fundamentally believe, and specifically speaking about the education part, and then I'll club everything together. Education is a profit making business no matter wherever you do, and if you don't have extreme overheads, it is always profitable. So online education is not going anywhere, and with the rise of digitization, high quality internet, 5G now being announced by Ambani ji, and then smartphones coming up, and then Make in India and Atmanirbhar growing, I think it is not going anywhere. So digitization, digital services, health tech, fintech, edutech are not going anywhere. If you are an entrepreneur, these are the opportunities. Go into it, understand, and the best is combine your skill set and niche, and boom, you have a gold pot there. That's it.
Thank you, Dilnawaz. Keshwa, any point of view on this one, specifically for grassroots entrepreneurs who are doing social impact, not just tech-driven businesses? Can they build a sustainable model on the back of this disruption?
I think yes. What we have all learned is that one, there needs to be more cross collaboration or partnerships now. How different universities now are offering courses from other universities as well, and how education is now accessible. Everything is free, and it has reduced the cost of a degree to a piece of paper, which means now it's just about the skill sets, and that creates a new market whereby you need to also reskill and also upskill. And this is really about the employment force being a new human resource capital. And I would also like to just end it by saying that we now know for a fact that the learning process is a continuous process. So lifelong learning is something is a truth and not a myth. So anyone can be on the game, anyone has the access, whether you have the tech or not. I think now governments are realizing the need to upgrade the IT infrastructure within their countries. So things have gone faster now. There's a need now. Things are more essential. So you only do things which matter the most. And internet is no longer a privilege, but a necessity.
Thank you so much, Keshwa. We are about 2 minutes to go before we close. So I have to just now take the last minute to just sum it up. I think we have seen how some trends will continue: digitalization, access, work from anywhere. We're seeing some
shift. If you allow
yes,
me one point.
Yeah, please, Yogesh, go ahead. Please go ahead. Less than 30 seconds, please.
Yeah, one of our startup have modeled the Byju's model for deaf and dumb students. So e-learning for deaf and dumb students, which is missing in the Byju's model. So he can create a sustainable model by pitching to Byju's, a 12 billion company. Another is smart toilet monitoring system. So by keeping the order and lights as well as the water the sanitize in the toilets, which can be monitored with the help of sensors. Now you can get your pathology test done by using urinals. So your reports, pathological reports, will be generated by using the urinals. Because so this kind of technologies he is working upon.
Thank you, Yogesh. Each one of you are worth talking for at least 90 minutes each, because I have so many questions that I want to ask you, which would be of use to my viewers right now. But we have been given 40 minutes, so this is an unfair opportunity that's come to us, but we have taken this as a challenge. So the couple of things I'd like to note before we close. One, of course, there are trends which will continue, digitalization being one of them. yes, it is sustainable if you understand the new models of digital disruption. If you hold on to the legacy, it will not be working to your advantage. Yes, the government and non-government sector organizations are doing a lot more to get you going. And please continue to stay in touch with us. There is a lot more that Yogesh's smart city projects or Deshpande startups are doing. There's a lot more support around you available. And I must tell you something else, a secret. All my other speakers have agreed to take on your questions, requests on LinkedIn. So let's continue this conversation from this platform from IMI Thrive 2020. My name is Puneet Modgill. It's been a pleasure to host you and a privilege to host four of my fellow panelist speakers. And I'd like to hand over back to Aparna Gupta. Thank you, Aparna.
Thank you so much, Mr. Modgill, for the session moderation. And of course, I would like to thank all of our speakers for being here with us today and participating in this conversation. Thank you to all our delegates for being here with us. Please stay tuned for more such exciting conversations. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.